everyone. My name is Dara, and this is Dear Hallmark. This is my space where I kind of nerd and geek out over Hallmark Channel movies and stuff. And guys, today we are doing a masterclass episode. Now, if this is your first time coming to a masterclass, first of all, welcome. Second of all, we are getting into the nitty gritty of what the professions look like within the Hallmark Channel universe as it pertains to making movies. But this specific masterclass session is something super special because I have in front of me virtually, I have the VP of marketing for Hallmark Mahogany Cards, Miss Alexis Kerr. Ma'am, it is such a pleasure. It's such an honor to have you here in the home of Dear Hallmark. How are you doing?
I am doing great. First of all, I'm super excited about this conversation, but also just super excited about enthusiasts like you. I think that's the beautiful charm of 100-year-old brand like Hallmark
Yeah.
is that, like people from all walks of life, generationally have loved us. And we just get to chat, an inbox on Instagram. And now
Yes.
here we are. I think that's what I love about social media and just the opportunity to just chat with people. So I'm pumped about talking today.
Oh, thank you. So I want to start with the icebreaker question. So, what album, artist, or song is in heavy rotation for you right now?
Right now, I'm probably on the sort of gospel tip, with sort of an unbreakable. But my sister Mary J. Blige, she stays in the heavy rotation, the
Yes,
classics, the
yes.
sing-alongs. She's just doing so much incredible stuff. And so, I love my gospel classics that keep me going. And
Yeah.
like I say, unstoppable is it. But the Mary J stays in rotation.
I
She
love
really
that.
does.
I love that. I'm kind of a nerd. Like I listen to a lot of Christian rock. And so I've been like on a like punk rock type of thing. But on the same side, I've
Okay.
also been listening to Music Soul Child's new album like on repeat.
Yeah, I haven't heard it.
It's
Okay.
so good. It's really, really good. And so between my Christian rock and Music Soul Child, I've been having those two in heavy rotation. But I want to get into your story because I mentioned in the introduction that you are the VP of marketing for Hallmark Mahogany, but you haven't been the VP all your life. So there's a story there. So I wonder if we could just go back a bit to little Alexis. And what was little Alexis like? What did she want to be when she grew up? Where did she grow up? Just give us your true Hollywood story as it pertains.
So the short version, so we don't get into too much. I grew up originally in Brooklyn, New York, and my parents, when I was 6, we left Brooklyn and we came to Augusta, Georgia, where I went to high school, met some amazing lifelong friends. And growing up, I always wanted to be, oddly enough, a track star. So I ran track high school. Also had a scholarship, a track scholarship as well here in Georgia, but I had an academic scholarship. And so my mom was like, your body can fail you, and you don't want to use your body when you can use your mind.
Mm.
And so I had an interest to be in engineering. So that's how I landed sort of at Kennesaw State, with an engineering degree, really focused on sort of industrial engineering. Had the opportunity, once I graduated, I was like, got the highest offer in my class and spent, my first job was in Greenville, South Carolina, definitely an experience, smaller company in automotive. And so my first 20 years were in automotive at a place in South Carolina at Delphi Automotive. I also sold cars in college and for Chrysler. And then I was at General Motors for 9 years. So I sort of had a 20-year span in automotive that took me to many places. My last stint was with Cadillac. I had the opportunity to work in Dubai, leading our dealership spaces in customer experience, developing business development centers really to structure the business in the way that our dealers were operating to sell cars. And then my last sort of stint there while I was in Dubai was leading the marketing team there. So yeah, I've had a fun career in automotive for those 20 years. And you know, fast forward to coming here at Hallmark, it's been just over 2 years that I've been here. And my goal was really to turn the brand into this lifestyle brand. So yeah, a whole lot.
Yes. Okay. Where do I start?
Where do you start? I know there's questions.
Yes. So, how did industrial engineering, since that was your educational background, how did the business come in? Did you go back and get your MBA, or what was that progression like?
Yeah. So great question. So no, initially I didn't. I worked in engineering probably for sort of close to 5 years. So I worked in automotive engineering for 5 years, and then there was an opportunity in sales. So really, sales is how I made
Mm,
sort of that business transition. And
okay.
I tell people a sales background will never sort of fail you because you learn how to communicate, you know how to be clear, you learn how to be patient, and then at times you learn how to sort of be aggressive when sort of necessary. And so I transitioned into sales, and so after about 3 to 4 years in sales, I sort of transitioned over into marketing. So that's really how I got into marketing. But also that's how I was able to sort of my job now is marketing, but it's really all of the Mahogany business
Mm-hmm.
for the brand. And so we are obviously market, but we're building this standalone business that's way much more, or in addition to the amazing car brand. So people know Hallmark Mahogany for our 37 plus years of making incredible cars when Black and brown people used to color in the cars to make them look like us and exhibit our skin complexion, but based on amazing master writers and illustrators, we created the card collection, like I say, about 37, 38 years ago. Fast forward to today, we have not just our incredible cards, but we have books and gifts. And we created mahogany.com when I came sort of at the end of last year, because people were saying, three things. I don't know who's writing the cards, who's behind the brand. Are they Black, or do they look like me? Are
Mm,
they young? Are they old? So answering that question. Two, I can't find these cards. Where do I go? My Walgreens, my CVS, my Amazon.com. Where do I go to find these cards, these gifts, and more? And so that's why we created mahogany.com. It was really to create a one-stop shop. She can get her
mm,
cards, her gifts, her empowerment. She can hear from other sisters. So we have a writing community. We wanted to like own the space of like, we know you, but we also see you, and we have the type of products that you want to exhibit outwardly who you are internally. So that's literally what mahogany.com is all about and why we created the site. But again, it's growing the business of having all of the products that we have that serve her, this African American woman, or people who are buying gifts that they just want this deep sentiment that's engulfed in culture that speaks to sort of who they are, or who they want to connect with.
yeah. So, what was your relationship like with Hallmark before going to Mahogany? Because you have this deep, steeped root in the automotive industry, with both
Mm-hmm.
engineering and sales, with Cadillac, and what was the other brand that you mentioned? I think you mentioned
I work
another.
Chevrolet. Mm-hmm.
Chevrolet.
Chevrolet. Mm-hmm.
And so, was Hallmark ever on your radar? Because I feel like that's, going from the automotive to cars is I feel like kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum a little bit. What was
Yeah.
that transition like for you? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a great question because I think there's a handful of similarities. When I left Cadillac, I was doing luxury cars. And if you think about Hallmark, we are, like signature, we are the luxury end of cars, of paper products. I don't want to just limit us to cars because we have so many more products beyond that. But I think of it as an iconic company that was 100 years old is the company that I came from and the company that I'm at. The people
Mm.
at Hallmark are just incredible. Like, we're selling products that help you connect with others. I mean, what a better time to connect and have this need than during COVID. I mean, so I came 2 years ago, like at the height and the heart of COVID, into a place where I began working virtual and then started to engage with not just our consumers, but our employees. And so, it was remarkable. Like the care, I went from a company that was 20% women to a company that's, for the most part, like 80% women, or a large number. So polar opposites, but that care and that connection and that ways in which we want to help community, that is phenomenal. Like phenomenal. And that's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why sort of it was on my radar, because I was working really hard and obviously selling and marketing product to Black and Brown communities, but I also did LGBTQ plus, I did Asian, and I also did Hispanic. But now specifically, I have the opportunity to just work with Black and Brown women. So that's amazing. And it's also for an iconic brand that's been around. And so when we're talking to this audience as a mahogany brand, it's not the first time. This is not new. This is something we've been doing for decades. So it makes the work so much more pleasurable. So that's, sort of obviously we're buying the products and cards online, but also in, our over 1,000 Gold Crown stores and/or Walmart, your Family Dollar, Dollar Trees, and Hallmark.com. But just being able to be part and start another extension of the brand has been, very fulfilling for me personally as a Black woman, but also as we talk to our consumers, even on social, as we engage and talk about sororities, things that we acknowledged before, but we never really like spoke into. So to have
Yeah.
collabs and talk about and talk to those audiences, it's been phenomenal.
It's like I love following you guys on social media because every Founders Day they got like you guys have a graphic and a celebration for each sorority and fraternity's Founders Day, and even when it comes to summer, the cookouts, the spade games, it's like, oh, I know what this means. Like I have an understanding of what that means, and I just appreciate being a part of the mahogany community, even from a social media perspective, and following you guys. I think it's so beautiful. So, Alexis, as a marketing professional with Mahogany, could you take us a little bit into what what is it like? What are you in charge of? Number one, like what does that look like for you? And then what does your day to day look like? Or are there 2 days that are the same? Because guys, if you follow her, she be outside. She be out here. You go. I see you at all these beautiful events, but I know that there's more to marketing than just going to fancy events. Could you let people in a little bit on what it is you do specifically, and then how that breaks down into your day to day?
No, this is good. And it's also, social media is always a snapshot in time of something that looks sort of illustriously beautiful. And well, I should say, I'm not a person who shows all of the messiness. Now, there are people who, profess to or really show all of the making of the sausage or the making of the cards, shall I say. But I try to really just shine a light on, I think, the importance of how everyday people are part of the Mahogany brand. So specifically, brass tacks, like the type of work I do or the scope of what I'm responsible for is, the bigger thing is making sure the brand continues to grow. So how do we, when I say grow as the Mahogany brand, yes, we've been around for 37 years, but we've primarily been known for a handful of things, really cards. And that's fantastic. And we're going to continue to make cards and have books and those things that help her connect. But also, like we outside, and the ways in which we grow our audience, say on social, is to relate to the things that are happening in culture. There are, for Black and Brown people, those Founders Days for fraternities and sororities. There are those nuances at the summer cookout, the Juneteenth celebration that we want to celebrate with us. There are those pain points when we sit and hear like we are really not okay. And it's okay to say we're not okay. We do, as sisters, need to acknowledge our the extent at which we're running and working and being in a world that's not necessarily always set up for us. So my job as the brand is really to create the tools that foster these conversations with us, the affirmation cards that encourage us that you may put on the wall, the card that says this, I see you just in all your beauty, all your curls, all of your glory. And it's one, it's okay. And two, even on the days when it's not okay, it's still okay because I still see you. And so the job is really to foster those true relationships, not, social relationships, those true relationships with the Black and Brown community. And so that when they know we see them, we understand your stories, we understand who you are, we understand your trials, tribulations, and all of the things. And we want to showcase the beauty of that, not all of your pain. There's other brands that are doing it, but we want to showcase the beauty and empower you to know that there's more. And so, if I think about my role, like that is my job, providing the tools to help her coexist in this amazing world and still address her personal needs at the highest level. And then what does that look like on a day-to-day level? It is like looking at, hey, what are the marketing and promotions and the stories that we're telling on mahogany.com that draw people into the community, that sisterhood of our writing community that has about 13 to 15 writers. Some are celebrities, some are everyday women, some have, million followers, some have 15 to 20,000 followers, but they're telling these first person stories about their real life that draw people into the power of the storytelling to keep you going. Like, oh, you're not the only one working in corporate America. You're not the only one trying to start a side hustle. You're not the only one who has this creative idea and just can't figure out how to get outside of yourself to get it going. So that piece is a part of the website. Then the second piece is just e-commerce, like the gifts and goodies, that we sell. Like, how do we have the right products that she wants to address her needs so that she can continue to look fab, mentally be engaged, and make it through kind of the next day. So we have all of those products available, and on a daily basis we're looking at, hey, what do the numbers look like? What are the promotions? How are we getting there? And then the other part is just consulting, whether it's our partners at Dayspring as they continue to have collaborative Christian products for us, or our partners at Hallmark Media as they continue to have movies and podcasts and all of those things. Like, we are constantly discussing, consulting, working with them to make sure that the brand, my goal is always to make sure that the Hallmark Mahogany brand feels inclusive, yet real, very authentic. And also I'm saying the word like, so every day, like an everyday woman can come to the brand, see herself, whether she's a celebrity or not, in everything that we're offering from our products, our services, our et cetera. So some days it looks like a promotional event where you're talking about the products with a celebrity, or you're hosting a celebrity, or sort of like everyday women. Other days it may be, I'm doing presentations to our most senior leadership to talk about, like, this is our plan for an activation like the Essence, or this is our plan for an engagement like our Black Excellence Brunch, or this is our plan for a moment in Black culture that we know we need to engage in or be adjacent in, because this is where our audience, will be. And we want to be where she is.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned it. I was going to bring it up, but you mentioned it about Hallmark Media and the Mahogany movies. I was so,
Yeah.
and still am, really excited about the Mahogany initiative as it pertains to Hallmark Media and us seeing Mahogany movies on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. Can you talk a little, can you elaborate a little bit on the Mahogany brand kind of adapting into film, and what that would look like for someone who is a avid Mahogany products buyer, but maybe haven't been watching the movies? Will they feel the same energy from the products that they will in the movies?
Yeah, well, first of all, this is the brainchild of Wanya Lucas, who's the CEO of Hallmark Media. When she came, she said, hey, we need to bring Mahogany to life through film. So, she brought on the right staff, Tony Judkins, who is incredible at storytelling. And so, she's continues to be even more remarkable in working with her as partners. First of all, the actresses and actors love her. Two, she has a really good engagement with the writing and producing community. So whatever the theme is or whatever the project is, Toni is great because she's got a rich history with so many people in industry. So, without Toni, I'm not sure where we would be. So I just kudos to our partnership and working with her, but also the incredible films that she has brought to life. First of all, August 26th, I believe the date is our next film. And the great thing about that film is that it's going to be shared. Yes, it's going to be shared on the Hallmark channel. So we had, yes, you got the call.
That's all I wanted in my life.
Yes.
I'm
So
sorry.
we're super proud and excited. As a quick reminder, yes, I was just checking the date. I was like, let me make sure. Yes, it's 26. And don't worry, that date will be everywhere. But we're super excited about that being one, it's our next film that'll be out. But two, the beautiful thing about our films is that there's nuances that relate to Black and Brown culture, but they're just amazing films. Like they're amazing films that everybody wants to see, we're telling incredible stories of love, just all of the reasons why you love the Hallmark channel. And so we're going to be able to just, show it to a much broader audience. And we did this with our initial film. The great thing is we have products. So our products that you see on mahogany.com, we're always able to get a handful of products in the movies, but the storytelling is remarkable. And the bigger thing when we think about equity in the Black community is that producers, directors, characters, actresses, and actors, they are Black and Brown. And so we're able to, give many, not just in the Mahogany movies, but also, Keisha Knight Pulliam, produced one of her first or earlier projects with us. So we're able to do that and not just under the Mahogany umbrella, but broader. And I think that too speaks to the vision of Toni Judkins and also Wanya Lucas in saying, we want to make sure there's space and we give opportunities to content and creators, producers, directors behind the camera, as well as in front of the camera. And so I think that equity story to me also is one that really resonates with our Hallmark media partners.
So do
So yeah,
you?
good things, big things are
Yes,
coming.
as you can see, I screamed. I'm so excited. But the with you being with more so the Mahogany products, do you have a hand in the Mahogany movies, or is that kind of like separate in terms of your vision is for the products, and then Toni Judkins' vision is for the movies?
Yeah, so we work hand in hand. Definitely, Toni has the lead, really is strategically looking ahead, 6 to 9 months ahead in reference to scripts and the ways in which we produce films. But we partner in the way to make sure the language is aligned with the Mahogany brand. And
Mm.
Toni has done a phenomenal job. So before we even started, if we backed up before we started producing films, we talked about the language in our cards. We talked about our target
Mm.
audience. We talked about the ways in which the things that would sort of be inbounds and out of bounds as we think about the storytelling. And, after that handful of meetings and the ways in which we talk, Toni took that and ran because, again, she's an expert at media. She's an expert in filmmaking. And so what we're excited about is the fact that we don't like necessarily need to see anything ahead of time. Like they have done the homework of understanding the brand, the voice, the tone. And once you get that right, they've added on all of the things that are important to launching a great media product to that to create amazing award-winning now films. So, we're really proud. Lot more surprises are coming just as we think about the films that we've already produced, but also the ones that are to come. So I'm really proud about that. And then also just in general, there are more Black and Brown cast members, again, behind the scene directors and producers in our regular Hallmark Channel film as well. So that diversity is super important as we think about a brand that is iconic, but also engaging with an ever evolving community. So our community that we serve in our films and productions, we're also, making sure we look like them and
Yeah.
engage with them in a way that's very authentic and provides, again, that equity.
I'm going to ask a hard question. What's your favorite mahogany product? Like, if you could pick one mahogany product, what's your favorite?
So it's probably the journal
Mm,
because I feel like one of our first products that we created, sort of when I became on board last year, was this uplifted and empowered journal. And it's 100 days living uplifted and empowered. And I think it was great because the format was wonderful. Like you write for a day, you sort of read an encouraging passage, and then you write, but then it also gives you the next day to just write with a prompt. And I think that was really unique. And also thinking about, like, we need to be uplifted and empowered. And so
hmm
on an everyday basis, you don't even realize how much stress and how much, negative energy sometimes from the world that you're taking in. So to have a journal that really prompts you, um, to take you outside of sort of yourself and your day to day and say, okay, these are the things I can be grateful for. These are the things that the success I had. Um, it's just important to take that moment and embrace that. And I think it's very easy to use. So a lot of journals, it may take a lot of, no, we've got simple prompts, in less than 10 minutes, you can engage, put your journal down if you want to, and move on to the next thing. So, that product is one that I'm really passionate about, but also really excited because we brought the entire creative mahogany team in to engage, and also some of our friends of the brand, and created a really amazing product that we could be proud of.
I love that. I love that. So, first, I want to say thank you. You've allowed me to learn a lot, because, especially from the movie perspective and hearing you talk about how the product side of the brand and the movie side of the brand is working in tandem. Um, I just want to say thank you for sharing kind of more of what the Mahogany brand means, especially as a black woman in this space. It feels good to be seen, because sometimes us black women who may watch Hallmark Channel or who even, buy cards may not see ourselves in any of those instances. So I just want to say thank you for just kind of sharing the heart of the brand, with us. But I also heard that there are some other things coming with Mahogany. Is there anything that us as consumers and viewers can look forward to in the coming months, weeks, as it pertains to Mahogany?
Yeah. So first of all, just thank you for being you. I think a lot of times we sit in spaces where we have to explain ourselves away, and I don't, and our existence at times away. So just thank you for, like, your charisma, your energy, your enthusiasm. It's like I don't even know how I sort of ended up in your ethos, in your world, but like once I did, I was like, oh my gosh, she is great. And I think just be encouraged in that greatness to, like, own your space and who you are. And it's such an incredible niche. um but look at all you've been able to do just because you've owned, like, this space and who you are and what you love. So just, take a moment whenever it is and just appreciate that. So just thank you for that.
Thank you.
And also know that, like, we're here for you. So we also got to send you a little goodie box of all things mahogany,
Thank
as
you.
well, and some of the new things that we've got coming. So a couple of things that I am excited to share is, one, like, as of today, we just put up a brand new journal, like a brand new amazing mahogany journal, just launched today. We've got it up on the mahogany.com website. So we're super excited about that. So, a couple of times a year we have big product launches. This will be one of our bigger launches. I think second, we will have a lot more Mahogany owned events, like literally this is from Mahogany to our community. So we're excited to give you, I'm going to have to come back, give you some more details about that as we
Yes.
talk about that happening in the third quarter. And I don't want to give away too much, but like we are working on some things in sort of new spaces that we haven't quite got to. So we're going to definitely have to come back and share that with you. A couple of things we're not quite ready to chat about, but like we're working on a lot of different things in the media space. So I'm excited. And then the movie. So August is going to be a great month as we think about, our movie and the premiere and just kind of the topics that we're talking about, things that resonate in Black and Brown communities. I think continuing to lean into that is really, when I think about the storytelling of Hallmark Media and the amazing movies that we're doing, we continue to tell these rich stories that Black women are like, yes, okay, I see myself and or my friends or someone I know. So I get inspired about that as well. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming. Definitely always new products. We've got a large number of products for Father's Day on mahogany.com. Summer stuff, whether it be from hair turbans to sunscreen to Christmas in July, we'll have ornaments. So all things Hallmark, like all things Hallmark, keepsake ornaments, get ready. Christmas in July, put your orders in, get to your stores. We're really excited about that. At Hallmark, it is a huge month for us in July with our ornament sales. So get ready, get ready, get ready. And now we have a great new online system at hallmark.com to pre-order your ornaments and what have you. Exclusive new bags that everybody's come used to every year that you'll be able to pick them up in when you get them picked up at the store. So just a lot of new things coming from Hallmark Core as a brand, our partnerships there. Crayola, as everybody knows, Hallmark owns also
I
Crayola.
forget
They
that.
spring, yes, yes, yes. So for all your back to school needs, we got your crayons, all the things, markers, etc. But also Dayspring, the Christian brand, Hallmark also owns. And like a couple of times a year, twice a year, we have movies as well. Typically Christmas and Easter, there's a Christian movie, specifically a Dayspring branded movie. So we just continue to grow, and we love absolutely all of our enthusiasts, followers, and friends, what I call friends of the brand, whether it be Hallmark or Hallmark Mahogany. We are all one huge family that just appreciates the consistent love and support. And again, the brand's over 100 years old. So we have had fans slash enthusiasts slash people who have been dedicated to connecting in a very caring way for over 100 years. So we are here for that.
So I have some final questions before I let you go here. So for the woman who's listening who may want to change career paths and maybe get into marketing or doesn't have an idea of what marketing is and that may be something that she doesn't want to get into or that may be something that she does want to get into but she doesn't kind of have a full grasp of what it means. What advice would you give to that woman who may want to get into the marketing field?
Yeah, and this question comes up a lot. There are a lot of people who may not have a major in or just have an interest in sort of marketing. So one, I always say, one is like market yourself. So like if you have not necessarily a lot of expertise, you have interest in the area, marketing yourself is really going to be super essential and important. Two, if you're in, let's call it undergrad, get experience. I can't say enough about getting an internship and how important that is. A lot of times people don't get internships. Maybe they're not paid. They don't get internships because they may not have the relationships or may not necessarily have the experience to get the experience to get an internship. But that experience is going to be invaluable, no matter how big or how small. Three, volunteer. Before I had, an MBA in marketing or what have you, and I was sort of on the engineering side trying to make that transition, what I had to do was big from a standpoint of I made sure that I volunteered within the organization in a number of different areas so that I can get some experience in marketing, and then ended up landing a job in marketing. So there's a level of if you're within a corporation and you have interest in transitioning over, volunteer for your ERG, your employee resource group, so that you can learn about marketing. I can't say enough about the opportunities you have with getting mentors. So
Mm,
talk to people who are in the field, watch your YouTube, YouTube University can teach you a lot.
yeah.
So that way, at least you would have the language of how to talk about these topics, a better understanding. And you can communicate, like, this is what I want to do. Maybe this is not what I want to do. Hey, I'm interested in social media marketing. I'm interested in guerrilla marketing. I'm interested in advertising. Like, just understanding some of those fundamentals and those difference also is super helpful. A lot of times, people have wants and desires, but they're not necessarily very clear about, oh, this is what I see and what I think I want to do, versus like, this is what the job really entails. And so just doing some research and having more conversations with people who are in that field, and don't necessarily feel like I got to talk to the VP of Mahogany. No, talk to a lady who's at an advertisement firm who may have just gotten in, who may be a little bit more junior, or talk to some interns so you can have a better feel of what digital marketing looks like versus the very different piece of PR, what have you. So I would say talk to people, try to find mentors if you're within already within a company, volunteer through those employee resource groups. Those are probably what I would call some of the easiest ways of sort of fostering the conversation so that you can learn and sort of make a transition based on your passion and your interest.
Thank you for that. Alexis, what would you say? Because a lot of my listeners, they aren't black, and I would love for you to just speak to them in terms of what their relationship with mahogany may look like, because they may say, well, I'm not a black woman, so how can I support, how can I, whatever. So what would you say to that listener, to that viewer who may be feeling that way?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. So a couple of things. One is that these stories and themes that we have at Mahogany, there are stories and themes that many of our audience, your audience shares. And so if you think about love, you think about resilience, you think about compassion, you think about empathy, those are the themes we have in our cards. Those are the themes that we're sharing in our movies. So the themes and the core of them are very similar, if not the same. Some of the context and the cultural nuances are a little bit different. But again, when you think about Mahogany, think about um, your friends and your
Mm,
family. And
mm,
so this is just an extension of that. We are just an extension of some of the things you may have heard and know. You're still going to laugh. You're going to have a good time. You're going to cry in some cases. So it doesn't have to be that this was created and it's not for me. No, this was created and it was specifically for this audience, but it's still amazing. So think about films that have been box office hits. They may have had black and brown characters, but they're wonderful for everybody. And so these mahogany films, these cards, the love and the romance of our, Valentine's Day cards. All audiences buy them. Mother's Day and Father's Day, all audiences are buying our products. And I think it's a misnomer to say, hey, these were created just for Black and Brown people. They're not meant for me. No, these were created for people who want to connect in a loving way, who want to engage. The outward expression may not necessarily look like you, but the inward storytelling and connection is exactly what you need. And so there's a wide assortment of products that we have that makes sense for all audiences.
Now, on the flip side of that, I would want to ask and just kind of let you leave with this to that black woman who is buying Hallmark products, but also watching Hallmark movies. What would you say to that black woman? What would you say from a
Sis,
mahogany
we got you.
standpoint?
It's like we have you. We know you and we are you. That's really what I would say to her. Like these stories are coming from us to us, and you're going to get the cultural nuances, you're going to get the inside jokes, you're going to see the love and romance. And the beautiful thing is, like, we as Black women and Black men, we need to see more of our Black joy and have happy endings in love, in life, and all things. And so you're going to see that. And so we want you to continue to enjoy us because we're going to depict that, but also know that, like, behind the scenes, we have created this for you because we know you. And it's going to be special, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be Hallmark. All of these things still ladder up to Hallmark, whether it's any of our products, any of the events that we create or are going to, it's all still going to be that Hallmark love. It's just going to be specific for you. And so that's what I would say to them. And also, like, look forward to so much more from us. Continue to watch the movies that we have. Shop at mahogany.com. Mahogany 23 gets them 23% off. So here's an exclusive. Go to Mahogany 23. You will get 23% off any item that you have, to all of your listeners. So we're super excited about that. But also, we continue every month to add new products. Our brand continues to grow. We're going to continue to show up in places that you haven't even thought that we should be, because we're going to be where the culture is and where our consumers are.
Awesome. Alexis, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking with you and picking your brain about Hallmark Mahogany. Thank you so much for your time. And for the listeners out there, the code that Alexis mentioned, it will be in the description box if you are watching via YouTube, and it will be in the show notes if you are listening via podcast. So she's Alexis. I'm Dara. This is Dear Hallmark, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Ciao, my friends.
Bye. Thank you.